you back to the Textilers program for the M365 AI Copilot. So today we are going to be looking at prompt engineering. But before we jump right into what we need to do today, I believe we're familiar with the housekeeping rules already. Maybe I should just keep past that. You can always jot down your questions, and then at the end of the day, you will have opportunities to ask your questions. So again, what are we doing today? It's all about prompt engineering. And I was able to, combine everything that I know about prompt engineering into today's class, from the OpenAI's, documents on prompt engineering to that of Microsoft, to that of Google, and also Anthropic, those guys that build Claude. So it's everything that I've been able to put together, ensuring that we are able to, write very good prompts at the end of the day. Saying that I've been able to combine different materials so that at the end of the day, we are able to write very good prompts. We are in this age and time that AI is, will continue to take up different roles, and we now have agents working with agents, while completing a task. So our own role now will be, how do we give out the concise instructions to these AI agents or to these LLMs to be able to, carry out the task the way we must have conceived it. So no matter how efficient AI will get or is going, we still need humans to be able to, conceptualize what you want it to do, how you want it done, and then you will be able to write those instructions. And then AI can work on the instructions step by step, ensuring that what you must have conceptualized is done the way it's supposed to be done. So prompt engineering is one of those skills that you need to be able to master at this particular point in time. So at the end of today's class, I want to believe that all of us on the call will be able to, add a lot of skills into our prompt engineering, and will be able to communicate better with these LLMs and get the best out of them anytime, any day. But let me add like a caveat. There is no amount of course, no amount of lessons, no amount of, sessions that you can join on prompt engineering that will, make you better if you do not, get down into business and write prompt every now and then. So I'm saying that at the end of today's class, let's continue to write the prompt, iterate. That is the only way you can get better. So if you like, consume 300 pages of documents on prompt engineering. If you are not writing, you are not getting feedback, you are not going back there, edit it again, iterate over and over again, it will be difficult to get better. All right. So these are the things that we are going to be looking at today. What prompt engineering is, despite the fact that I know some of us, we've talked about it already, so you know what that is. I will still go over it. How to build an effective prompt. We'll look at prompting techniques. There are dozens of prompting techniques, but I've been able to, create about 10 or thereabout prompting techniques that we are going to look at in the course of today's session. We are also going to look at prompting best practices, just a few things here and there that we can have at the back of our mind when we are writing prompts. And of course, will run through the Microsoft Copilot prompt gallery. So this is where you already have a lot of prompt templates that you can adopt along the way, and you can also tweak it to suit your own needs. And we'll look at prompting for different Microsoft tools inside Word, inside Excel, PowerPoint, Copilot Studio. I hope we have enough time to do all this. And of course, I plan to kind of, you know, put us into different groups and then have us do one or two things, just to practice everything that we must have done. And the Q&A session, you want to ask questions. I will have a closing remark. So these are the things that we are going to be doing today. So if you're excited as I am, you can just drop a yes in the chat or just give a thumbs up that yes, you're ready for today's class as we begin. So you can just, all right, all right. Thank you for that. So we are getting right into the business of today. What is prompt engineering? Okay, I want to believe my screen is also showing you. You can see my screen as well, right? Can you? Okay, good, good. So what is prompt engineering? But before I talk about prompt engineering, I want us to take it from, the known to unknown. So let's start from what prompt is itself. We're talking about prompts. Before we now get to what prompt engineering is, we give instructions to these large language models. In the first class, I remember we talked a lot about the large language models, those things that powers the ChatGPT, the Copilots, the Grok, and some other things. So how do we now talk to them? So this is the specific inputs or what you call instruction or query that you give to these large language models to guide their response. So that is the prompts we write, the instructions we give to the LLMs. And as for the LLMs, we are talking about the models. These are the AI system that understands and generates the human-like text. So they work at the background. The interface we are seeing is ChatGPT or Copilot, but at the background, the LLMs are the one working. So the real definition we're looking at is prompt engineering. This is learning how to communicate with AI effectively, to get the desired results. How do we communicate effectively with all these LLMs to get the desired results? That is what prompt engineering is. If you say engineering, you're trying out things, you're doing things, you're creating new things. So our prompt, we are writing the prompt, we want to get better at it, we are learning how to communicate. So it is an ongoing process. It is not something that you just say, I've taken the course and then I'm okay without practicing. The more you write your prompt, the more you iterate, the more you tell all these LLMs to say, no, this is not what I'm talking about. Can you rewrite it? That is when you get better at prompt engineering. So that is the topic for today. How do we now communicate with these AI effectively to get the desired output? So that is the bottom line. That is what we are going to be doing today. Right. Before we now start writing these prompts, let me add, we will do a lot of, hands-on. I will ask you to try out certain prompts and then we'll see the differences, before building up the prompt to an extent and then just writing a few lines. We will try and compare and see the effects of some of these techniques as we go along the way. So building effective prompts. So we want to start from the basics, right? Maybe for everyday users. For everyday users, they just want to write a prompt, just a sentence, and they expect a feedback from either Copilot or ChatGPT or any of these LLMs. You want to have a mind. What is the goal? At least before you jump on your computer and say you want a feedback from ChatGPT or Copilot, you want it to help you with something, there must be a goal. So what do you want from Copilot? What do you want from ChatGPT? So that is the first thing that you want to take a look at. What is the goal? So the goal is important when you are writing your prompt. So when building a very solid prompt, you want to be sure that the goal is included in your prompt. Because these LLMs, like we said in the first class, there's a way they try to understand all those things that we are writing, tokenization, embedding, and all those things. So we must be, explicit when we are trying to write out our prompt. I put up an example here. I want a list of 3 to 5 bullet points to prepare me for something. What is the goal? What do you want Copilots, for example, to do? What is the goal? I want you to help me draft a marketing jingle, a goal. I want you to help me explain this topic. That is the goal. The goal alone is not enough. You also want to, add the context. Why do you need it? Or who is involved? So you are building a prompt, right? The goal, you know what you want to do, but what's the context? I can decide to say, help me write out a short sentence on photosynthesis, right? Or on electric vehicle. But in what context? Why do I need it? Am I preparing for a TED talk? Am I preparing for a project defense in the school? Or do I just want to post on LinkedIn or on Facebook? Or am I writing a blog about that thing? Or am I creating a PowerPoint presentation about that particular goal? So what's the context? Why do you need it? Is there an argument somewhere and you now need Copilot to throw in more light into whatever goal that you're trying to achieve? So context matters too, right? Context matters. So you want to add the context. For example, here it says for an upcoming meeting, with a particular client. So prepare me for how to respond when I'm kind of pitching to a potential customer. So the context matters too when you're building up the point, your prompts. The next one here is the expectations. Don't forget, we are still talking about just the basic elements. Your expectations too. What do you expect from Copilot? You want to talk about the tone, you want to talk about, oh, this is how I want you to respond, the expectation. And of course, if you're using Copilot 365, maybe you want to add the source. So this particular first image here is just about the Copilot itself. So this one, we're talking about Copilot. Remember I said today's class, we're focusing on prompt engineering generally, we're not limiting ourselves to Copilot. So we're talking about Gemini, about, ChatGPT and all that. So this one is if you're using the 365, meaning you have your sources, it could be your documents in your OneDrive, in your SharePoint, somewhere in your 365. So you can as well add the source and say, you know what, check out the email from so person, prepare me for the next meeting that I will be having with such a person. Maybe you've dropped a proposal with a company, you're representing your company, you dropped a proposal with another company, and then you need to have a meeting with them. So your goal will be you want Copilot to come up with 3 to 5 bullet points to prepare you for that meeting. And you're saying the context is you're focusing on their current states and what they are looking to achieve. You see, that is the context. Meaning, Copilot should go through their documents, get familiar with their current states, and then prepare you. And what's the expectation? You want to respond in a way that is convincing, and you want it to use the sources that are already there on your 365 tenants. So if you put all this together, you will be able to build an effective prompt that can work for you in Microsoft 365. So you're using the Copilot there to write the prompt. That is that. But if you're talking about outside 365, this one is not, we're not just focusing on 365 now. We're talking about maybe you're using ChatGPT or Cloud or Gemini and all that. It's still the same way, just that we're not adding source here. You want to start with the intent, which is still what the goal. The context is there as well. You also want to draw up the specific instructions, your expectation. You can as well decide and say, this is how I want the output to be written. I want it in a bullet form. I want it in a table form. I want it in JSON format. I want it in form of an infographics. You can add that, and you can as well add what we call constraints. Don't add this, don't add that. You can add it in your prompt. So if you are able to combine all this, it will help you in building your prompts. I will go back to what I said earlier. Knowing all these things will not just translate to getting better at prompting. It is writing the prompts that will make you get better. At times, I feel like I'm ChatGPT and myself, maybe we know ourselves better now. So it knows how I want my things to be written. When I say A, I know how I'm writing it. If I say B, it seems we are now inseparable. We are kind of together now. It's because I've used it over and over and over again. If I say A, it knows what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to say it is when you use it over and over and over again, that is when you now get better at using it. You can even come up with your own prompting techniques. Apart from all those techniques that are out there online that we've read, you can also, come up with your own and say, this is me, this is how I do my thing. So this is one way of building a very good prompt. We will still come back later and then you will write some prompts for me and we will evaluate your prompts and see if we can qualify it as a comprehensive prompt. I don't want to say whether good or bad. I would rather say comprehensive prompts that will help, all these tools to be able to do the job for you. We are not just talking about text responses alone now. We're also talking about you writing prompts to create images, you writing prompts to create videos. Okay, so you want to be sure that all the elements that a graphic designer will always take into consideration when drawing or when, doing something, or an artist, is also the things that you want to add in your prompts. Yes, I know people are saying, oh, graphic designers, AI has taken over your job, video editors, AI has taken over your jobs. But the point is, a graphic designer that knows how to use AI will be able to come up with better images than somebody that doesn't know about all those elements that should be captured when you're designing an image or something. You want to talk about the lightning, you want to talk about, the resolution, you want to talk about all those, you know, technical technical words that should be captured, or you're creating a video. For example, you want to act as the director, as the producer, as the cameraman, as the sound man. So all these things must be captured in your prompt. What is the role of a producer? What are those things a producer will look for when on sets? What are those things that the sound director will kind of take charge of on set? All these things, you will now be the one to capture everything in your prompts. Else, it will just go ahead and do stuff all by itself and will not even take into consideration all those things. You're talking about, oh, must there be a mood thing there? The depth of field, the cinematic lens effect, the thoughtful composition, the characters, their gestures, their postures. You want to make sure that all these things are captured to the last detail in your prompts. That is when you are able to build an effective prompt. Okay, there is this framework. The one we just saw, we can say maybe just basic, but there is this framework that's, a bit expanded.
So if you are able to use this framework, it will also capture all the things that we've talked about in the last slide and even more. So we call it rice facts framework. Okay, I think we're in the season of rice too. So rice facts framework. So this is like a cycle that you can adopt. It's still similar to what we discussed earlier. You define the role in any way. It's not compulsory that it must start from defining of a role. That is why it's a cycle. We just must ensure that we capture everything. You want to define a role, act as an Excel specialist, and then I need you to come up with the Excel formula, to calculate this and this. Why am I doing that? I want to create a dashboard, a real-time dashboard for my company to show the sales record and some other things. This is a sample of a dashboard I'm hoping to create from the previous data analyst that has been working in the company before my arrival. I've added example. I want the format this way. I want it to just be two colors, miniature, nothing so serious. And the goal is to be able to help the company make an informed decision. You want to add a lot of instructions in your prompts. What's the constraint? The constraint is, you know what, I don't want it to use this type of charts, or I don't want it to do this, I don't want it to do that. Professional tone, you have to use the necessary business concepts when you're trying to, come up with the insights and all that. So this is a rice facts framework cycle that if you are able to at least as a start master the rice facts framework, you will be able to write a solid prompt. So when you start writing it, you won't even know. While writing, you will just find out that you've captured everything here without you ticking the box and say, have I done this? Have I done that? Have I touched tone? Have I touched context? Have I touched examples? You will be able to, do all these things. The more you write, the more you get better at doing this. So this is a rice fact framework. This is where I normally stop for beginners. I just say, you're just starting out, start writing, go to ChatGPT or Copilot. Those things that you do every day, start introducing some of these elements into your prompt. You can start with one, add two, add three. I'm not saying that every time you must add all. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're just trying to proofread your text, you don't need to write all this there. Okay. So this is for beginners. Now we have what we call advanced prompting techniques. So this is the basic one. We now want to move on to more techniques where we will be able to see different techniques, and later on we'll start trying out some of those techniques and we'll start weighing our options and we'll check and assess the responses from one to the other. Again, we've done the RISE framework. So I've moved away from that slide now. Can we just take 1 minute in the chat? Can you write out the full meaning? Let me take it away. Can we write out the full meaning of the rice facts? Can anybody, you want to write that out now? Just the words. R is for rule. So I've given you that of R. Can you write out the meaning of the others, the full meaning of the other acronyms there? Rice facts. Anybody in the chat? Rice facts. Can we just do that in 1-2 minutes? Is anybody typing the rice fact that I just talked about? So I want to know if you're with me. Just write down the acronyms and the words for each of the letters. So the rice fact, it is rice and then fact. So you want to write down the full meaning. Okay. A, content, C, content, all right? So you can just write rice facts and try and fill it up, okay? Somebody has done rice, role, instruction, context, example. Okay, what about the facts now? What about the facts? So let's do that of the facts too. So what about the facts? So we've done role, instruction, context, and example for rice. Then what about the facts? FACT. Anybody? Okay, format, goal, constraint, tone. Okay, format, goal, constraint, tone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Edu and Joanne. All right, good, good, good. I had to do that just to be sure that we are still together. All right, so we are moving on, still on the rise facts. I want to now show us examples so that we understand what we are trying to say before we move to the advanced techniques. R, just like we've said in the chat, R is for role, or what we call identity, or what we call persona. So this is to tell AI who to act like. AI is for everybody except for the ones that have been pre-trained or fine-tuned to do just one thing. You know, except you've built it as an agent in your 365 itself, or ChatGPT has been designed to do many things. You know, so it's like having one person that knows everything and everything. But you now want to reset that person and say, this time around, just act as a doctor, or act as a data analyst, or act as, you know, an AI engineer. You want to reset the LLM and say, for now, just pretend as if you are this. That is the rule. Tell AI who to act like. And I have an example here. Act like a business advisor, helping small business owners. Then you can now add your question. This will be different from somebody that will just go there and say, give me an advice on how to do pricing for my business. If you just say that, it will tell you something, but the response will be different if you should start by saying, act like a business advisor, helping small business owners. Then you can now say, help me with my pricing strategies. Role, R, I instruction, which is, no, we'll get there. I used like a slash. We said goal slash, you know, action or something. So you see that. I here we're saying instruction, the task, and the specificity. So we are saying say clearly what you want AI to do. This is where you now, you know, put the real instruction and say, this is what I want you to do. Help me to write a short post to promote my handmade soaps on Instagram. Help me to, you know, design a strategy for me to, you know, complete this particular task. That is instruction. The C here is the context or explanation. So you want to give it a bit of background so the AI can understand better why you're doing what you're doing. So we've talked a lot about context. So in this case, I'm saying I make organic soap at home and sell them online. I want to get more people to visit my Instagram page and buy. That is the reason why I need this short post to promote my handmade soap. So I am not just saying write me a short post. I'm also giving it a context to say this is the reason why I need that post. So that when ChatGPT or Copilot is writing the prompt, it will have it at the back of the mind that this person is doing this at home, and that is why it needs this, and it will be able to add that to whatever it's going to write at the end of the day. The E is examples. Examples helps a lot. Even when you are building up what we call the system prompts, maybe you're doing your Copilot Studio, you want to build an agent, you want to add like a system prompt and say, you know what, this is the main points that I want you to follow. If you give it examples and say, this is how I want you to always respond. Maybe there is a particular format in your organization. That's how you normally write your reports. So you can share that with Copilot and say, anytime I ask for a report, use this particular format, use this example. You give it enough examples. So you say, if you have something you like, show it. There was a time I wanted to write something on LinkedIn, and the lady that's kind of working with me, ensuring that I post regularly on LinkedIn, would always say, no, this your the way you've written it is too technical. No, the way you've written your posts, people will not relate better with it. Write it in a way. And I was getting kind of, how should I write again? This one is too technical. This one is too direct. This one is has no good hooks. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? What I did was to go on LinkedIn, and I went to the lady and other people's pages. I copied their posts. I took my time. I copied about 10 of their posts from different people, posts with enough engagement and all that. So I copied. I told ChatGPT, I said, you know what? I am going to give you a lot of examples. Don't do anything until I say you should now do something. It said, okay, I'm waiting for you. I pasted the first one. I said, wait for more. Pasted the second example, the third, and then the 10th example. Then I say, you know what? I want you to study all the examples that I've shared and try and come up with a structure for it. Come up with a style that will always produce something like the 10 examples that I've shared. And it came up with something. And I say, okay, so anytime I'm writing on LinkedIn and I mention LinkedIn, use this style. So I will just go there, write whatever I want to write in a technical, whatever format that I feel as it's coming to my head. I will write it. And at the end of the day, I will just say, use the analyze LinkedIn style to write this thing. Then it will just break it down and use the style to write it. And then the lady now say, this one is better. I said, don't worry, I am using your style now to write all these things. There was a time it could be somebody else's style that you want to teach the AI and say, this is how I want you to respond. So examples works. Examples works. So you can always say, you know what? I'm giving you an example. If you love to add emojis or bullet points, you can also give it there. So you can give it a sample of what you want to do. That's example. F is for formats. There are a lot of them, or if you just go on, a lot of them. One guy on Facebook, is a friend on Facebook, Shayo Aluko. He will always write something about 7 things I learned he's a Chelsea fan too. So at the end of every Chelsea games, he will always go in there and say 7 things I learned about the match, and it has a nice way of writing. So there was a time I commented, I said, you know what, I've copied your style, so I'm using it, at times to write my stuff. So it is, no, I am not, you are not going to mention the name to AI. If the person is popular like Shakespeare, like all those guys, it will recognize them. But if the person is not known to ChatGPT, you can copy post from that person, copy the post. It could be on Facebook or anywhere. Copy the post and then say, analyze this post. This is how I want you to write. Or there are a lot of people that write fine stories on Facebook, on LinkedIn, that you yourself, after reading the first paragraph, you get glued. You don't want to leave. And at times you feel like, I want to be able to write like this, but you can't write like that. So you just write your own thing and tell Copilot and say, use this structure, use this person's format, while writing my one example will not do it. So you might as well copy like 5 different examples so that it can, consume it and better understand what you want. So the format is how you want it. Do you want it in a paragraph? Do you want it in 300 words? Do you want it in table format? Do you want it in JSON format? Any format that you want. Do you want it to be converted to an infographics? You can actually mention that in the format. And the A is for action or goal, right? It's the action or goal. What do you want to happen with the content? So I want people to visit my page and message me for orders. If I'm writing my LinkedIn post, I always say add a CTA at the end of the day, which is a call to action. So at times you can write something beautiful and you are not drawing people in. So if you say add a CTA, call to action, then ChatGPT or Copilot will help you write something. Oh, what do you guys think about share this instance where you've been able to wanted to do this and you couldn't do it? You are inviting people to respond. So you can add action or goal, whatever you're trying to do, you can add it there. So facts remaining C and T. Constraints or restrictions, don't use too many big grammars. You can say keep it simple and friendly. You want to do the constraints. Don't use these common words. I have a list of all the common words that LLMs normally use. So when people see it, they'll be like, this person has used AI. Although for me, the argument is there. I don't think anybody should be ashamed of using AI, because that is why these guys have spent billions of dollars to develop the model. So people will now be saying, hey, if you use Dive, then you are using AI. If you use this, then you are using AI. But in case you still don't want to use all those words, you can copy all those words and say, you know what, don't use these words anytime I'm writing, you know, don't use these words. And another way of, avoiding those words is to say, write like a grade 7 or like a grade 6. That means a pupil in primary 6 or something. It will use simple tenses, maybe you don't want all those big grammars to be there. And for tone too, if you're using your Copilot on web, you have it there. It will ask you, do you want it professional? Do you want it, conversational? Do you want it just friendly, informal, formal? You can choose the tone. At times you can say, use research terminologies, sound more like a researcher. Maybe you're writing your research proposals, or you're in an environment, you're a data analyst for an healthcare company. You want to say use the words that are familiar with a medical practitioner. So that is the RISE facts. Like I said, this one, all the things that we've covered so far, the basic prompt techniques that anybody can start with, and it will change their prompting skill from wherever it is to another level. But beyond that, there are still other techniques. Now, yeah, of course, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So all the things that we examples that I've been writing under the RISE facts, see, act like a business advisor for this, and I'll put everything together. See, this one now says act like a business advisor, helping small business owners. We're taking a role. Help me write a short post to promote my handmade soap business on Instagram. You've given it the instruction. I make organic soaps at home and sell them online. I've added what? Context. I like posts that sounds friendly and have emojis like your skin deserves love. Try our natural soaps today. Example. Please write one paragraph with 2 hashtag formats. Don't use big word. I said don't use big word. Make it warm, happy, and encouraging. I've added constraints and tone. You see that at the end of the day, I have a comprehensive prompt that will now be able to help me out come up with a better response than somebody that will just run to ChatGPT or Copilot and say, write a post to promote my handmade soap business. If you write that, it will give you something. But if you write something as comprehensive as this, it will give you something better. And don't make the mistake of accepting the first response from all these LLMs. You can always query them and say, you know what, you missed out on certain information. Can you make this better? Can you change this? Can you capture this? Can you remove this word or this set of words from your responses? You can always iterate. Like I said earlier on, that's how you get better at prompting. You go back and tell it to do it again and again and again till you now have something that you can say, I think you've hit the sweet spot now. This is really what I want. So that is for the rice facts. But for us now, we want to now take it a step further. We don't just want to now, stop at those basic prompting techniques. There are some other advanced prompting techniques that we want to also look at, and we'll test out some of them at the end of the day. There is multimodal COT. The COT here means chain of thoughts. Multimodal chain of thoughts. So this means that you can as well add your text as sample, add your visual image as sample. Multimodal means multi-dimensional mode of communication. So it could be text plus images. It could be text plus Word document or PDF that you want to upload, or with an Excel file, you want to add it and then layer it with your own prompts. So this time around, it is multimodal, meaning you are adding text, you are also adding something else. It could be image, it could be a document, and then you give it an example. Okay, so this is an example that I have here. Say, when planning home decor, provide the AI with a room description and also a photo of your room. Then suggest color schemes that will complement this room. Maybe your company it's an interior, they are into interior decoration, and you're visiting clients' houses and you want to help them do a makeover. You can take pictures of the current situation of things there, and then you upload and tell AI, you know what, can you help me with the color schemes, or how best do you think we can do all these things? It can as well be an image, maybe a concept that you saw in a textbook and you are finding it difficult to make sense of what that concept is all about. You can upload the image and then add the text to it and say, can you break whatever you have in this image down for me, like a layman? Explain to me like I'm five, and let me understand what you have in there, and it will help you out. It may be the screenshot of an Excel data in rows and table, and you upload it and say, what kind of analysis can I do on this? Or it could be a program that you want to do a screenshot and say, can you explain why this is written this way, or how to get up to this stage? Now you now have Codex in ChatGPT, you have the GitHub Copilot, you have it in Visual Studio too. You can upload a screenshot of a website and say, can you help me write out the code, the HTML, the CSS to, produce what I have in the image. So that is multimodal. You are adding multiple kind of communication, text and video or audio, add it to it, and then ask it for um, results. So that's the first one here. The second one, you can use analogies and comparisons. You can use analogies and comparisons. So this one will take the AI on a different direction. So instead of saying explain blockchain technology to me, I can say explain blockchain technology. It will explain it. But if I'm saying explain blockchain technology by comparing it to a public ledger in accounting, this time around, I am saying, you know what? I know where I'm going. Don't just explain it. I want you to link it to a particular concept. Maybe the presentation you're making is for the people in the business world. You want to convince them, maybe their company wants to embrace blockchain, maybe you're consulting for a banking firm and you want to explain this to them. You want to link it to something else. You want to explain certain thing and then use something that is known to those people. You want to use what they know already. You want it AI to explain certain thing using that particular one. That is the use of analogy or comparison. The next one here is self-consistency prompting. Self-consistency prompting. You want to request for multiple outputs to identify the most consistent or plausible answer, for something that is ambiguous. You want to provide 5 different explanations for why global temperatures are rising. Then identify which explanation align best with current scientific consensus. So this time around, you are testing the AI. AI will always, it's a black box. It will always come up with something. So you're like, no problem. Give me 5. I want you to evaluate your responses yourself and tell me the one that aligns best with the current scientific consensus. You can use self-consistency prompting too. There is React too, which is reason plus act. Yes, we have some reasoning models. The old models in ChatGPT, you have reasoning models in Gemini, in Grok, in Cloud. There are reasoning models there, but you can also force it to do the reasoning itself. You want to say, I need to understand AI's role in agriculture. That is what I want it to do. But I also want to give it steps. I want it to follow the steps that I must have shared while trying to carry out the tasks that I've given it. So I want to say, yes, I need to understand AI roles in agriculture, but start by thinking about the challenges farmers face in Nigeria. Then list AI tools addressing these challenges and then provide one real examples per tool. So this one, you are combining reasoning with specific actions. You are asking it to think, propose, then act, iteratively. So you can use react to reason and act. So you also want to be there to guide it and say, don't just continue to beat around the bush. This is what I want you to do. Follow this systemic order while you're trying to give me your response. There is systematic framework prompting too. This one has to do with the field that you're working at that particular point in time. If you are in health, you're in logistics, you are in tech, you are in education, you are in agrotech, whatever field you are, those, structured models or concepts or frameworks. You can tell AI and say, I want you to use all these uh, models or frameworks when responding. That way, it will be able to give you what you want. Take, for example, you need SWOT analysis. You want it to follow SMART goals or to follow PEST tool, or you want it to use the SAMR model. You want it to do something. You have to give it all these models and say, you know what, follow these when you are responding. So I have an example here. I say, analyze the impact of AI adoption in education using SWOT framework. And SWOT analysis is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this time around, I do not just want a paragraph. I do not just want a sentence in a way. I want it to follow SWOT framework. Or maybe I want to put in there and say, can you follow the 21st century learning design? Or can you follow the UNESCO framework? You want to mention, if you have in mind, a framework that will help you get the best out of the AI. So this is another way of, working with the AI, ensuring that your prompt is able to direct the AI and give you something that will be very much useful in return. Systemic framework prompting is really, really cool. Step back reasoning is there too. Step back reasoning in a way that you allow AI to refine and correct error logically. So you want to say, step back and review your response to ensure consistency with scientific principles, logical flow of arguments. You want to say something like this because AI as of today still hallucinates. If you ask it questions and you are not being clear, you're vague, it will just go there and say, let me just give this guy something and let me be. It will just give you something. But if you're able to say, this thing that you've given me, can you take a step back and review your response? Make sure that it is consistent with scientific principles. Make sure you fact check what you are giving me. If you write that there, you'll be surprised that it will tell you, I am sorry, and go back and give you something else. And you'll be shocked that what if I had gone with what this thing, not guy now, what this thing wrote initially? Or you want it to say, oh, follow logical flow of arguments. I love that logical flow of argument. Let me tell you one thing that happened on, yes, it was on Monday. Yes, it was on Monday. Yes, it is definitely not copy and paste. Yeah, thank you, Nilola. On Monday, I was at an office in Abuja. So I was there. We got there. They were having meeting, and their boss there said I should join the meeting. So I just sat back there. I didn't say anything. She wanted me to talk. They brought in one of their consultants, and that one was showing them the work they gave the person to do was to build a portal for them, to do a whole lot of things. And the woman brought me in to, pass comment. I didn't say anything. Everybody, the people were complete. They were, bringing out different observations. I was taking notes. So everybody when all of them had exhausted all their observations, and I said, okay, I want to speak now. So yes, I was the last person to speak. It was not that I gave them something that was completely different, but what I did while I was there, I was taking notes. I was writing my own observations, and at the end of the day, I just told ChatGPT, I said, do this in a logical flow of arguments and make sure you put it in a technical way of sharing observations. So I just wrote those two things there. When I said, oh, it's now time for me to talk, the boss said, oh, so you now want to talk. So I started my own observation in that logical flow of argument. You know what happened at the end of the day? They said, yes, 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 yes. I think this is what we are trying to say. I think we can now conclude and then use up what I said. I didn't say anything that is completely different, but I just had to put it in a way that, it will flow logically and everybody will now understand that this is what I'm trying to do. You know what happened at the end of the day? Their technical partner, that is a UK-based organization, now said, I think we need to engage you to now work for us and supervise those guys that are doing the work. The person said, I love the feedback that you gave. I think with this now, you will be able to help us work with them and supervise the work. The work must be done in a way that you must have said it. It wasn't me, right? It was me in a way because I prompted the AI to help me out. That's something, just one small example, right? You can be there. You don't just want to talk. You don't just want to write things. You don't just want to do things in a way. You want to, leverage these tools out there to be able to give better instructions, represent yourself better, communicate better. You can use these tools. I have it on my speed dial. Whatever I want to say now, this is what I'm planning to say. How can you help me to make this better? I want to sound, as an authority in this field. Then it will help me and do that. So step back reasoning can really help. Assemble prompting is there too. Assemble prompting, you want to use multiple prompts, multiple parallel prompts to generate diverse solutions and consolidate the best outputs. This time around, you want to tell it, give me in different formats, multiple parallel concepts. For example, here I say generate 3 possible research methods to analyze consumer behavior post-pandemic. Do a quantitative approach, do a qualitative approach, and do an hybrid approach. Then consolidate the most effective aspects of all three. So this time around, I want, a kind of parallel prompts. I want it to use different approaches. So you can do this as well. So change your prompt. Counterfactual reasoning is there too. You want to say, what if? In Excel, we have a what if scenario. You have all those go seek and what if. Even in Power BI, you have it there, your parameter fields and all that. You want to do what if. You don't just want it to give you something. You want to say, what if this is this? What if we look at it this way? At times, it may be something that is um opposite of what everybody is doing. Maybe you want to play the devil's advocate this time around and say, what if I don't want to write DAX to generate this thing? What if I don't want to use calculate or same period last year in Power BI? What if I don't want to talk about it this way? What if I don't want it? You want to use what if? You can request the AI to explore what if scenario to evaluate alternative outcomes or solutions. This is really, really useful in research and forecasting. So maybe assuming electric vehicles had not been invented, how would carbon emissions and urban mobility look today? Explore both social, economic, and environmental impact. You want to say, what if? Okay, what if AI has not been kind of introduced? What if OpenAI did not come out with ChatGPT to make it public for everybody in November 2022? What do you think the world will be like? What if you want to do something counterfactual? You can use counterfactual reasoning. The ninth one, I do this a lot too. Why not use AI to write the prompt itself? Okay, so let AI do the work for itself now. That's why it was invented. So you can do auto prompting. This is where you ask AI to generate the prompt for itself and solve a problem or explore an idea further. So generate 5 advanced prompts that I can use to analyze the role of machine learning in cybersecurity. This is an example. So ChatGPT itself will be the one to write the prompts. I beg, don't disturb my life. This time around, I'm tired. So this is what I want to do. Help me write the prompts. Yeah, cool. Yeah. MJ, yes, it will do the work for you because your own prompts may not capture everything. So you can write what you want it to do. Instead of you telling it to generate response, tell it to first of all come up with a prompt that can give you a detailed response. Just, okay, I want to write a short note on this. Write a prompt that can do this better for me. It will write the prompt and you will now use the prompt to generate response. So you can do auto prompting too. And Microsoft has Copilot prompt gallery, and you have a lot of prompt templates in the Microsoft Copilot gallery where you can just go there, you will see prompts that have been written, you copy and reuse there. I personally have like a Notion. I have a Notion where I have a table storing up different prompts that I use. I categorize them. This is for this is for Excel, this is for Power BI, this is for SQL, this is for LinkedIn, this is for YouTube scripts, this is for video, this is for image. So any prompt that I love, that I feel that, oh, I like this prompt, it was able to do the job. I copy it, store it in my Notion. So anywhere, anytime I need something, I can always go there. And I also use what we call text Is it text expander now? Yeah. If we have time, I'll be able to show us that too. So I don't need to memorize all my prompts. At times, I will just use a code and say ABC. It will understand what I'm trying to say in Copilot or in ChatGPT. Even in Microsoft Word, anything, if I write ABC together, it will write something else. It can write a whole page for me. It can write a prompt of 3 pages by just writing ABC. So you can do auto prompting. And number 10 and 11, I'll take them together. Zero shots, few shots prompting. Zero shots is no prior examples, just instruction. Few shots is you want to give it examples. So in this case, I say translate the following. Hello, thank you. If I copy this, translate up to this stage, Copilot or ChatGPT will follow my examples and start adding other greetings without me saying more. So that's few short prompting. You can give it, this is what I want from you. Continue. This is like flash fill in Excel. If you're using flash fill, Control E in Excel to do all these things for you. So these are different advanced techniques that we can use when we are writing our prompts, right? I'll give us a few time to, try out some of these prompts, some of these techniques, and then you give me your observations. And these are like bonus. These are just me here now. These are just me. These are not from cloud or from Anthropic book or from Google or from Microsoft. So these are some of those things that I do at times too. I add these to my prompts. Yes, I will put a prompt there, and at times I will say, ask me clarifying questions until you are 95% confident you can complete the task successfully. You'll be shocked that Copilot or ChatGPT will ask you 10 questions at the end of the day. And you'll be like, so what if I did not ask you to ask me question? You will just jump the gun and give me something anyhow. You just give me whatever you like at the end of the day. No, I don't want that. So if you ask it to ask clarifying questions until the LLM is 95% confident you can complete the task. It will give you questions and you will respond to the question. Maybe there are some doubts that the LLM is having. You will be able to respond to those doubts. And at the end of the day, it will now give you a solid response. The number two thing that I do at times is I would say, what would a top 0.1% person in this field think? So meaning I'm aiming for the best and the best and the best in that particular field. Maybe I'm trying to dissect why the kind of analysis that could be done on a data set using Power BI. Then I want to say, what would a top 0.1% think about this analysis? That way it will look at it and say, this time around, you're not just a data analyst, you're a super duper data analyst, and you want to think as the 0.1%, the very top people, and then come up with something that is way more useful than just what anybody will write. That can help you get better results too. Or you say, reframe this in a way that changes how I see the problem or challenges. It's possible that you're looking at something from a different angle and you want to tell ChatGPT or Copilot and say, you know what, reframe whatever you must have written in a way that changes how I see the problem or the challenges. That can help too. And the final one here that I do too, you can simulate a discussion between people. You know what? You want to simulate a discussion between three people. Let's say you want to simulate a discussion between three people. You want to say, um, I need to make a decision about, this is one example that I did, right? You can simulate discussion about people. These are notable people. So I said, I need to make a decision about starting an AI academic kids project. Simulate a discussion between Khan Academy CEO, comma, Andrew NG, and this guy as well. These guys are big when it comes to AI and when it comes to education. So I added these three guys there. I said, simulate a discussion between the three of them, have them analyze the pros and cons, challenge my thinking. So I have written some prompts there that I want to do this, and probably I have like my own roadmap there. Then I want AI to simulate the discussion, among these three guys, these three top guys in AI and education. And I want them to, you will see AI creating like a drama right there in front of you. It will start by saying, oh, the Hagan Khan now, the Khan Academy guy, will say, oh, this is what I see about it. Andrew will come in and say, no, I disagree with this. If you look at this is how you should do it. And then Dario Hamade too will say, oh, this is that. And at the end of the day, you want them to analyze the pros and cons and come up with something. So this can help you too. So you can simulate a discussion. So these are a whole lot of things that you can do. And again, the best way to get better, I'm saying it again, is by writing the prompt over and over again. All right, over and over again. Yes, thank you, Neilola. We cannot overemphasize the importance of responsible use of whatever we are doing. And that is why some of these LLMs, maybe I'll start with Microsoft Copilot. There are so many things that you won't be able to ask it to do that it will decline doing. Same thing with ChatGPT. It will decline, doing some things. And Gemini, I think our brother, our friend now, is fighting with Trump now. Elon Musk is the only one that, if you use his own product now, he believes in free speech, so it can do and undo. If you ask it to write something, Grok will write it for you. Grok even has what you call sexy voice or something there. You can ask it to, do things in that realm and it will do it. But if you're using Copilot or ChatGPT, it won't respond to certain things. So whatever we're doing, it is it is AI for social good. Okay. So that is that about some of those techniques that I use personally. Okay. So in summary, before we now jump to Copilot and then ChatGPT and try and see some of these prompts techniques that we've talked about, in summary, clear prompts. Your prompt should be clear. This is just like communication. If your instruction is vague, is confusing, you will be confusing ChatGPT or Copilot too. So if your instruction is not clear and you yourself you don't understand what you are saying, so it will confuse the large language models too. So ensure that AI understands the request accurately. At times I say, tell me if you understand correctly or you still need more information. Tell me before you go ahead and just hallucinate and write nonsense. Make sure it understand clear prompt and experiment, explore different techniques, experiment. When you experiment over and over and over and over again, you yourself will know what works better for you. You yourself will know what you should do, the techniques that will give you the better exploration, discover new techniques yourself. You cannot overemphasize this. Curiosity matters. I was playing with, maybe I will share with you that prompt. It's one of my legacy prompts too. I wanted to create a video. I was trying out the Google Veo 3 model that will not just create the video, but will also capture the audio. So I was trying to create the video And those guys are not smiling at all. That thing is freaky expensive. And if you are not careful, you will waste all your units. So prompting it's a whole lot of work, right? The Google Ultra AI is about $250. They're doing promo now. It's $125 a month. And even with that $125 a month, to have access to VO3, because that is the goal. The VO3 is the model that will create video with audio and every other thing. You will get 12,500 credits, and you will be using 100 credits per video. And for a video, it will create just 8 seconds. So let's say a scene of 8 seconds. Where I'm going is that if you are not careful and your prompt is not well detailed, you can waste 500 credits before generating one 8-second video. So at the end of the day, your $125 may not even get you 1 minute video if one is not careful, because the thing is expensive already. The 12,500 will be able to get you about 16 minutes video. But if you don't know how to write a detailed prompt, you can write 10 times before you can get 1 8 seconds video. So prompting is a skill that we need to master so that we don't waste money. We get quality responses from large language models, and it helps us to also do better. So whether you are creating a Copilot agent using Copilot Studio, you will still be able to come up with what will drive the agents. So it has to do with knowing how to write prompts very well. Iteration, refine your prompts through repeated testing. You test again and again and again and again. So that's how you get better at, at prompt engineering. So before we now run to Copilot itself or ChatGPT, at least to see some of those things that we're talking about. Maybe out of all the techniques that I've mentioned, techniques, tips, all those things that I've mentioned, I want everybody on the call to respond. We have about 14 people, excluding myself and probably Miriam now. So we have 11 people on the call. So I want you to go into the chat now and tell me which of those techniques, just choose one. I know we'll probably be tempted of choosing more than one, but let's choose one. Which of those techniques do you think you want to try out first, that you have not been using, that you're looking forward to trying it out first? So I want feedback from the 12 of us, right? So out of all those techniques that I've talked about, which one are you looking forward to trying out first? Okay, Victor has opened the door. Victor said multimodal chain of thoughts. Cool. So I'm waiting for others too. So everybody must talk. Oh, I want to know we are not just AI on the call. I, I want to know that we are here. Okay. So yeah, um, I think
Olaleko, you said
multimodal
Miriam. Is
COT.
it Miriam or me? You said I should not talk.
I think I saw Miriam there. Oh.
There's Miriam
Yeah,
here.
there is Miriam under presenter. So I said the
Okay.
presenters are not talking. I know,
Okay.
yeah. So excluding the presenters. Yeah. Everybody is saying multimodal. Okay, I do something on my social media platform. I think I'm very active on Facebook. That's where I post most of the things. I'm more reserved to an extent on LinkedIn. I tend to be a bit too shy on LinkedIn. But on Facebook, I post as it comes. So at times I create images and I look at something. Anything I come across online, I'll just save that image. Then I'll run to ChatGPT and say, look at this image. I want to create this image to say something else. That is still multimodal. So you want to give it like an example and say, I want something close to this, challenge it and give me the prompt. So I've gotten feedback from 5 people. I'm waiting for 6 more people. So thank you, Victor. Thank you, Edo, Miriam, Chioma, Joanne. Auto prompting, yeah, auto prompting is good, right? So let AI do its own thing. In fact, when you're creating agents using Copilot Studio, it is agent that will create agents, but under your own guidance. You want to still guide it and say, no, no, come back here. This is where I want you to stay. Don't go outside the box. So everybody is going multimodal, multimodal, multimodal. That's cool. Multimodal, it's cool. Before I jump on Copilot now, I want to mention one tool, right? I want to mention one tool, which is Notebook LM. If you've not tried out Notebook LM, I hope maybe Microsoft will create something close to that soon too. Notebook LM, this is where you can upload a book, prompt it, tell it to create like a podcast. It will create a podcast like audio. It will simulate a radio program, a podcast, and people will be talking about your textbook. So anytime I'm traveling, right, and there is a book to read, I just convert it to podcast using Notebook LM, and then I start listening to people discuss about it. All right, so we've got systemic framework, counterfactual reasoning, and all that. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Let me change gear now, and then we'll try out some of these things. Um, let's try out some of them. Yeah. Okay. So let me share my screen. Which one am I sharing now? Okay. Okay, let me share this. All right. So I was talking about Microsoft Gallery. There is what we call prompt gallery with Microsoft. There is a Copilot prompt gallery. So if you are inside, okay, that's ChatGPT. So this is, come here, come here. So this is the Copilots. We're familiar with this, right? I think I saw the replay where we're taught how to create all these agents. That's all where we're going today. So here now, you have some of these, these are suggestions. So if I click on see more inside the ChatGPT here, and you will see the prompt gallery here. So the prompt gallery is where you already have templates of prompts where you can go to, and it will help you share with you some of those prompts that are there. And you can also add your own and build your own gallery, add your own prompts, so that next time you want to do that particular thing, you don't need to start writing it from the beginning. So if I click on prompt gallery here, look at what you have here, Microsoft prompts, and then your prompts. On this account, I do not have my home prompt here, but I'll show you how to add your prompts there. So this is the prompts gallery under Copilot. You have task. You can filter down. If your task is to create, to learn, to ask, if it's about analyzing, if it is code, you can filter down here. You can also filter down using the job type. So if you come here, you can filter down using the job type. Let's say you are in sales, for example. I clicked on sales, see the prompts that are there. Draft an email to my customer communicating what to expect next from their technical service. So these are kind of our prompt. So if I click on it, look at what happened. It added that prompt here. See, I'm a customer success account manager. I'm in a customer success account manager role, and I need to send professional email, blah, 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 blah. So it will help you out with this, and you can just add the source, the information you want it to rely on when writing the prompt. So you can easily get prompts from the prompt gallery. And if this particular prompt, you will be using it often. Look at what I have here. Save the prompt. It will be saved, and then you will see it under your prompt here. So next time you want to find it, just come to your prompt and click on it. It will bring it there. So you can see prompt gallery here and easily locate any prompt that you find useful. Design an image of a drawing of a database, make it stand out. Suggest a few subjects for the following. Create a professional looking background. Help me improve my communication style. Maybe I like this. I had this. And if we come back here next time, you will see it under your prompts. And if you type any prompt here and you send it, maybe not from the prompt gallery, if you type anything there and you send it, you can always come back and add it. Stop talking. If you come back to that particular prompt, you can add it to your own gallery as well. Let's say I want to copy one of those techniques. Let me copy one and say, ask me clarifying questions. I want to copy this. And then I come here, let me refresh. I just want to demonstrate something. So if you write any prompt and you love the prompt, you can add it to the gallery as well. So that next time you're looking for it, look at what I typed here. Look at it here. Edit, copy, and then what? Save prompts. See, I'm saving that prompt. Next time I come inside, I look for the gallery, it will be there as one of my prompts. So you can populate your prompt gallery with some of those things that you use often. So next time you want to use them, you can easily grab them here. And you can also share your prompts, share it to the team. Maybe you are the one in charge of creating different what's it called, prompts for your the people in your organization. Don't mind, I want to be seeing the charts. Let me track that here. Okay, so maybe you want to be seeing the responses. I mean, you want to improve how your people use prompts. You can share it to teams. And yeah, thank you, MJ, for sharing it. So the link to where you have all those prompts, you have it in the chat now. So you can use this and it can help you. For those of us talking about the multimodal, you see, you can always add contents here. So you can add images, you can add files here and specifically say, I want you to talk about this. So this is the file that I'm using, right? This is the file that I'm using. So I've added the file. If I now say, come up with 5 bullet point summary of what is in the file. So I just want something like this. It will go through the document and give me the 5 points there. So it's reviewing the document. It will give me the 5 points. I can add a picture and say, look at this image, create something using this. You see that it's doing a summary of all the stories that I've been talking about in the last 1.5 hours. So yes, it's kind of putting everything in 5 bullet form. So you can try out your multimodal here. You can chat with any of the agents that you must have created, or even from the Microsoft 365 agents. There are a lot of agents here. You've got researchers, career coach, prompt coach. You want to improve your prompts. Since we are talking prompts here, you want to improve your prompts here. There is an agent called prompt coach. So you can add it so that it's everywhere. You want to just write your prompt anywhere, anyhow, rather, and then that prompt coach will help you, make your prompt better. So you can do all this here. And right inside our Microsoft Office suite, if you're using the Copilot 365, like mine here now, you also have Copilots here. So you don't need to be going back and forth from the Copilots or ChatGPT, and then you do whatever you want to generate there, and you come back to Excel or PowerPoint and say you want to do it here. Just that if you want to work on any file, it must be inside your drive, it must be online, the autosave is on, the Excel sheet is in form of table. So your data is in form of table. So this is what I want to do. Maybe I'm a beginner in Excel. I want to create a new column here. I want to multiply the unit sold by the cost per cookie here. I don't know what to do. So you've got Copilots here that you can write your prompts here. You can also add an image. You can view the prompt gallery from here also. You can get out the prompt gallery. See, the prompt is here also. So if your task is to analyze, you can check out the prompts here, and you can, let me see, which one, conduct, extract. So you can use any of these here. You see, it has helped me to write that long prompt here that I can use if that's what I want to do. But in this case here, we want to create a column here. You already have Copilot here saying create formula, suggest a formula column. So I can also write it here if I want to write it, or I can just click here. And it's already helping me out to look at the table and say, what can we do? What formula can we do here? What is something that we can do? See, it's saying I can calculate the total revenue, multiplying units sold by cost per cookie. So this is good. Insert it as a column. It has done it here. I want to change the currency. You want to go ahead, write another thing here and say, can you create a chart? You want to say create a chart for cookie type versus unit sold or versus total revenue. You can do all that inside Excel. If you go to Microsoft Word too, you have it here where you can write your prompts. You can still write all those prompts using all those techniques that we've talked about. You want to write it here. Maybe all those styles that I mentioned earlier, you want to copy them and you want to put them here and tell Copilot and say, just study all these things that I'm going to share with you, and then come up with something. Or you want to summarize an article, or you want to produce an insight from a file, or you want to produce, you can write your prompt right inside Microsoft Word. Or you want to create a presentation here. You want to create a presentation here. You want to create a presentation with file, or just write your prompt here. Your prompt must be detailed too. Okay, so I want a presentation at as a seasoned seasoned speaker at Microsoft Build. Create a presentation on Copilot in Power BI, and make sure it is beginner friendly and with use cases and examples. Add relevant screenshots. You want to still use all those things that I've talked about when writing your prompts. So you can still change your design here and say, this is not what I want, or this is the design that you want. You can check it out. Let me just leave that there and go. It will create a presentation right in here, give it like an overview. I can check out the overview. If I feel that, no, I want to rearrange it, I can rearrange it anyhow I want. I want to delete it, I can delete it. If I'm cool with it, I'll generate the slides, and it will generate the slides based on the prompt that I must have written. So either you use the Copilot here, or you want to use Slide.ai, or you want to use Gamma AI, or you want to use Canva AI. The devil is in the details. Abi, is that not how they say it? So it is more about the information. It is more about your prompt, ensuring that you give it enough information so that at the end of the day, it goes on to respond specifically to what you want. So imagine I have a presentation now. In how many minutes? I've got something here. So what I would just need to do is to just put finish touches to this and just edit it, and just edit it. Beginner friendly, Power BI. Okay, connectivity is doing all these things, setting it up, you know. So what you now need to do is just go in there, edit it the way you want, but you must be able to write the prompt in a way that it will do justice to it. You can still continue to write prompt here and say, you know what, change what is there, change the image here, you can write the prompt here and tell it, this is how I want you to work. Since in the next 5 minutes, I'll pause for us to try out some of those things and then maybe put us in group and come up with something. Since we're talking about not just Copilot now, if you are the type that you're like me, I love using ChatGPT, but don't worry, ChatGPT and Microsoft, they are 5 and 6. So OpenAI's model is what is powering the Copilots, whether it's using 4 or whatever model. So it's still, they're together. So if you're using ChatGPT, for example, you can always, some of those things that I've talked about, you can add them and customize your ChatGPT so that when you are asking it questions, it will use some of those things that you must have stored in the customized to do the job. So if you click on your DP, whether you are using Plus or you are using the free version, you will still be able to do it, right? If you come to customize ChatGPT, for example, you will be able to see where to say, oh, this is how I want you to respond. Where are you? Customize ChatGPT. Let's wait for it to come up. Yeah. Why? Customize. Okay, let me test it here. Maybe that one is.
Are you sure it's not? Maybe something is covering it.
Or maybe because I'm using multiple screen. Let me see. Yeah. Don't mind it.
Because it gave you, you're supposed to accept an okay stuff, right?
Yeah. So it will work here. Okay. So here I clicked on customize. Let me go back. My DP here and then customize ChatGPT. So what should ChatGPT call you? So you want to put your name here or whatever you want it to call you. Then what do you do? So that anytime it's responding, you want it to take into consideration what you do. So you don't want to be writing long thing every now and then. So I put that there. What traits should ChatGPT have? At times people will say, hey, don't use all these things. You want to put it here and say, don't use dashes and all that. You want to say, I appreciate responses that adapt to an emotional. You want to write all these there, the traits that it should have. And then anything else ChatGPT should know, you want to put all those things there. If you go to advanced, do you want it to be able to use all these things every now and then save. So if you now come here and write anything, it will be able to remember all those things that you've said, and then it will add it when it's writing your prompt for you. So you can always come back here and say, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want you to do. Okay, I think I mentioned something earlier on before I allow us to at least practice for the next 15 minutes. For those of us that are using Windows, this thing will come in and I call it beef. It is beef text. It is a text expander. Is it expander? Yeah, I think it's expander. Beef text. If you are using Mac, you can try Alfred. You can try Alfred because you can easily create combos. For example, here, I have this combo here. Say, I have this combo. So if I type hash HH, I am saying give it 3 variations, make it humorous. Don't worry, let me build new one. You can download this for free. Just look for beef text and install it. When you install it, it will open up like this. Come to combo and say new. Then let me copy one of those things that I have here. Ask me clarifying questions, for example. Say, maybe this is what I want to be typing at the end of my prompt. And I don't want to be typing it every now and then. I can decide to use a keyword. I can say hashtag ask me. But if I just say hashtag ask me, or I say 1, 2, 3, anything at all, I say A2, I say hashtag A2, and I say okay. If I come here now, and maybe I'm working in ChatGPT or Copilot, and I just type hashtag A2, and it will just go ahead and do what I want it. Oh, no. It's not, this one is no. No. Did I use hashtag A2? Yeah, yes, I said hashtag A2. Okay. So, because let me check this. Yeah, this is hashtag HH. So I can give many keywords. So anytime I'm writing something and I just say, see, I didn't type this because I pressed hashtag HH. It turned it around for me. Why is this one not working? Let me see. Beef. Yeah. Hashtag. Okay. There is nothing there. Yeah, it's there now. Okay. Let me check. Yes, snippets and then the hashtag. I have another one here, MMM. Look at this long thing. So maybe every time, this is what I use for my video creation. So anytime I need the video, I'm creating a video, I've written my prompt, I will add this MMM. And I don't want to be writing this every now and then. I can create a GPT for it, but maybe I just don't want it. If I just say hashtag MMM, look at it, it typed this out for me. This can work also inside Copilot. So it's not just inside ChatGPT. Anywhere, even in Microsoft Word. See, it has written it. Even in Microsoft Word, the text expanders. See what I was able to write immediately. So if you have a whole lot of your prompts that you write every now and then, you can, just keep all these things. Yeah, I think it's Alfred, as in Alfred. I will double check while you're practicing. So you can easily use all this to help you save some of those things that you love to use every now and then. You love to use them every now and then. You will put it there. So anytime you are doing something, it will okay, it's case sensitive, default case insensitive. So anything. Okay. So you will be able to easily do whatever you want to do. It's working now. So I said it should be case sensitive earlier on. So I don't want to type it every time I do. I just say, yeah, thank you. I just say hashtag A2. It will write it. So when I'm typing, I'm able to move very fast. So that one will work for Alfred, for Mac, but for what's it called, Windows, you can use beef text, which is free. I'm not paying for it. So you can use beef text. All right. So as we have a few more minutes, and I'm sure that MJ has one or two info to share with us. Can we maybe let me see if I have the permission to group us, and I want us to just, just play with it as a group and come up with different prompts to do many things.
So that being said, while we wait for give some announcement around our task. So what we decided is that we decided that we will give each person should come up with like a project on their own, based on what you've been taught. So, like I said, next week, Joseph Afeso taught us how to create a Copilot agent the other day, and then Olalikon now has taught us on how to generate our prompts. So what I'll be doing next week is just to top up on the Copilot agent again. Now, I understand that from what Oladeko was showing us around Copilot, it was showing us the full-blown Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot for business. That's why. So for business is what goes, like I thought the other time, is what goes into your M365 apps. But for this course we are doing and the license we are able to get, we did not get the one that is full blown, because the cost is it about 60 about much dollar in a month. But what we're able to get for you is Copilot chats. You can still create an agent with Copilot chats. So if it is something that let me see, that I can share my screen on. Hold on. So if it's something that I can share my screen on, the only difference with what you have here. So this is like, if what we've given you, this is what you will definitely see. You will see an agent here, and you can see explore agents. If you explore agents, you might not have as much as what Olalikon has, because Olalikon is using the one that is for a full-blown M365 Copilot. But what we have is M365 Copilot chats. It's different from the one that is just M365 Copilot chat. Just give you these two templates, or maybe agents from the Microsoft Store. You realize that when Oladekon was doing his own, he has things like Visual Creator, he has like Researcher, and all of that. Those ones comes with the Copilot for full business. So, but either way, you can still create your own agents. So, with what Olalikon has taught us today, let's say I want to create an agent. You can see that even with creating an agent, you can describe what you want the agents to do. So, these are the templates, but we don't want you to use any of these templates. You are not using any of these templates, right? What we want you to do is to come up with a scenario of your own. I would have given you something that I want you, so I can give like an example and say that, okay, look at an environment. Let me just give an idea. Let's say an help desk agent that can help staff to perform probably maybe things like password reset, or that can help them to perform things like even to be able to automate meeting invite or schedule. It can look at my own meeting, it can look at my own calendar, and look at your own calendar, and probably if you want to book a meeting with me, it goes ahead and do that. So those are agents you can create. You can create the agent, and you still have the option, just like you said, for you to go through the Copilot Studio. So for this one, you can do any of it. So we don't want you to use any of these templates. Just by describing what an agent can do. Let's say you describe that an agent should be a weather agent. Describe it. Just with what Olalikon has taught us today, describe your agent, give it information. Once you click on it, let's say, let me say, I'm giving an example. Um, you are a, let's say, you are a weather agent that helps people to know the weather. You can even be a booking, what they call it. Once I start this, I'm just giving an example. I'm describing what I want the agent to be. So you say, okay, great. Now decide on the name for the agent. Is it agent? You can see right here, is already giving me ideas. Is it the current weather you want to see, or weather forecast, temperature, all of that? It's already giving me an idea. Now I can now
Is it only
decide.
me?
That's
I'm
why I
not sure
said
you are sharing your screen.
I am.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, don't mind me. I was on another screen. Okay.
Okay, all right. So you can, it's already giving you templates and all of that. It said, if I say I'm cool with this, I'm not saying that, I'm saying cool with the name. You can see if it says I'm cool with the name, it will change that name to weather informer. It will change it immediately that okay, I said I want to use weather informer. It's change it from, let's now refine the instruction for your weather agents. Is there anything specific you want it to add? So you can now start giving it the instruction of what you want the agent to do, right? I'm just giving an example. Hmm? For example, should they give a detailed explanation or just a brief? Give detailed explanation. You can say it's giving you ideas. So I can say, okay, give it detailed explanation. Mhm. And then when I say this, it will, the next thing it will ask me is that probably maybe but I'm not saying you should use this because I've used this example. Would you want to add any public URL as knowledge sources for your weather? So you know all of those public URLs you can add. You have as many as you can add. Do you get? I'm brushing over this because this is what this guy took us. And specifically because this is the license we have, unlike what Olalikon have. If I let me show you, maybe I can show my own type of license also. Okay, let me see. This is I'm being careful because this is for my organization. I don't want my organization data to be seen. So So if you look at this is what Olalikon used for us. And if you look at it, we have things like if you look at all of the agents, you have researcher. You don't have researcher here because this is a full-blown M365 license. But that doesn't mean that we cannot still work. And that is one of the things we're saying that with an M365 Copilot chart, you can still have the feel and all of that. So if you say if you have any of the public knowledge sources you want to add, he said it's optional. I don't have. I will just leave it. But if you have specific places you want it to go, you can continue. Then I say none for now. Uh, none for now. So like he said, I mean, my is even very it's not really detailed instruction I'm giving it because of time. Because I would have. Do you have any modification for this thing? I'll say. So modification could even be that I want to look at my current weather and all of that and then test it. He said, okay, you can try it out. So I can ask, what is the current weather in, let's say, I'm asking for the current weather in Seattle. uh, and then I enter. And then you can say, I'm trying it out. It's giving me all of this. I'm just giving an example. This is nobody should use weather informer. Um, Nobody should use it. So normally it is okay if I give it a knowledge a knowledge source like a URL. But if I can't give it, I mean, I'm not saying anybody should use it. I'm just, you're supposed to return a more detailed example. Even if you want to use a weather informer, I would want you to expand it more than that, that it is a combination of a weather informer and a travel agent. So if he knows the weather and he knows that I'm going for an event, or maybe he's a travel agent, if he knows that he can help me book my flights and then advise me on the weather, advise me on the clothes, so that will still accept that. But if somebody just come and say, okay, weather this thing, no, I'm not going to accept it. So I'm just giving an example. So if I click on new chart again, it still bring what is the weather forecast for, let's say, maybe this one will work. Let's say for Paris, hopefully. We're just testing out. So if it doesn't give, it's not an issue because I've not provided a source. Yes, it's still telling me to hold on, but because I did not provide the knowledge source, if I give it a knowledge source, a lot of these answers will be different. So this is what we want you to start having it at the back of your mind on the way you will fine tune your what they call it. You can see me building an agent does not take long. Now you can go further, and I mean you can go further because the license we've assigned to you allows you to do it. Now, this is just me creating an agent and then just creating it within this. But you can go further to click on configure. That means I want to go further. Now, if you look at this place that says that knowledge, I can add source web server, so if I put it this way and then I say you should use it, like web search, that you should use the web search. So let me even see now with my web search, let me see that it should work now because I didn't put a web search before. So let me repeat and then says that give me, because now I've said web search. Now you can decide to put the URL. Do you get? You can see now it's giving me a more detailed example because before now I did not put a web search. It's giving me an example. It's giving me detailed information to say, oh, this is the current this thing in Seattle and all of that. So you for this place that asks for current weather, I can add more and say if you know the current weather, maybe one of the things the instruction I want you to do is that if you know the current weather, advise user on clothings based on current weather, based on weather status or whatever you get. So I want somebody to be advised on. So my prompt can be that even if I do this and I save and then you can come here and now just continue to add some of these things. So there are different scenarios you can bring up. Different scenario you can bring it. You can look at a scenario to say, oh, for onboarding, people coming into the organization. And then as they came into the organization, what are those typical questions they ask? One of the things you have access to is that you have access to a SharePoint site. One of the things you can do with a SharePoint site, just like what I was trying to do so that it can make a little bit of sense for you when I'm talking, is that maybe next week when I'm taking the class, I will be more detailed. Is for you to even come to from a SharePoint site, you can actually create a site, and from a site you can create a site from a template. Do you understand? You can create a site from a template. This is a crisis management site. You can create a crisis management site. It already has the template. It has all of the things that you can use. And with that site in use, you can now come and create an AI agent that can answer people's question when they are in crisis. They can know places to go and all of that. You can expand your crisis center. Your crisis, what they call it. If I say use this template in a minute, I don't need to do anything. I just give it to them and say, um, information desk. That's all. Maybe I just want to call this a crisis information. So since Copilot needs even provide a URL for it, you get, I can create my SharePoint site. And with my SharePoint site, with the template, I don't need to design something from, all over again. Once I put this template here, and then this template is all about crisis, I can blow it out in whatever I want it. Maybe I can even download, give the same chat GPT some instruction to say, oh, can you give me safety tips and all of that, you see where next in workplace, he put it, all of those things. Just give me safety tips, and those safety tips you can actually bring it and put it anywhere as part of the resources in the site. And when you put all of those things there, you can now come to your co-pilot and then agent. When you are creating an agent, maybe this agent is a crisis responder agent. That's what you want to create. I'm just giving you an example. You can do all of that. By the time you're saying enter knowledge source, you can enter the SharePoint source. You can even tell it also to also use the web. Even if I say use web, it doesn't stop me from saying that, okay, enter the SharePoint address. I can come here again and say, oh, add the starter prompt. Maybe the prompt you have a limitation of 6 prompt. I can look at all of these prompts and say, okay, maybe I want to combine some, or maybe I want to change some. This is saying wind speed and all of that. I may say, oh, current weather plus wind speed and all of that. Maybe I want to put that, or maybe I want to combine wind speed with immunity. Temperature, humidity, and wind speed. I want to combine it together so I can have 2 free starter prompt for me to use. Do you get? So those are the things we want you to. But I'll take the class more elaborate next week, and then. But ahead of time, that's why we're setting up and setting the foundation for you guys um with the prompt that you've just done right now. That with the prompt the prompt engineering that you guys have gone through, it will start creating ideas in you of how to say, oh, this is how I'm going to create my own agent. Your agent, you now start looking at, okay, your ideas around your agent. What kind of agent do I want to create? What kind of problem do I want to solve? And then who are my audiences? You see all of the ways Olalekan has lays the foundation for us. That's the reason we have this class. So just have it ready, get yourself ready, and then for it, because just you see this agent I've created right now, it doesn't take me less than 30 minutes. We're going to give you a whole 1 week for you to create your agent, because at the end of my session is on the 14th. So on 21st, the first 10 people to be ready for their agents, that they said they are ready for their agents, we are going to evaluate you and pick one winner who is going to go finally to compete with the other set of people in the other tracks, because we're getting one winner from each track, and all of you are now going to compete with your work. So what the 21st allows me to do with you is that by the time all of us check it, or the tech mentors, we evaluate your agents that you've built, we can give you feedback, we can give you areas for you to say, oh, improve, add this, do this, and all of that. At least you have that 1 week before the 28th that we're doing our that we're doing the showcasing for the external judges that are now going to pick the winners. Now, even at that, the first 10 people that we respond also have a prize. We know we're giving free vouchers and 100% discounted vouchers out. So these are some of the things that's supposed to encourage or to motivate you. And it shouldn't even be the perks that should motivate you, but the fact that you have an opportunity to do something like a project. And when you are out there, maybe you are sitting before someone for an interview, you are saying, oh, no, I have been able to learn prompt engineering. And this is how I use this prompt engineering to create this agent. And this is the problem my agent is solving. You don't need a license to show your skills. You don't need a full-blown M365 license. With these Copilot agents, you can create these. So this is one way for you to create agents. Next week, the other way I will show also is if you are a developer that knows how to use VS Code and then a bit of Node.js, we're going to see how we can create what is called a declarative agent. And I'm also going to show us that. But then what we're trying to do right now is for you to have it at the back of your mind to say, oh, this is what I will be able to do. And I mean, this is how I'm going to create my agent going forward. So by now, start having ideas, start building up your ideas, start even going to ChatGPT to query ChatGPT to say, give me an idea of how to write a prompt or how to write an instruction for this kind of agent I want to build with Copilot agent, all of that. And so just give you an idea. So just like the crisis information decks that I built when it's in workplace, all of those things, this onboarding, sorry, I think for some, so let me see on my site. For the onboarding site, you can see this one gives you like an example of the onboarding checklist. Somebody just come into your environment and come into the organization. The simple questions they will, what is my entitlement for leave? What is all of those things? All those simple HR question. An HR agent can actually what, or an onboarding agent can tell you who your mentor is, can tell you all of those things. I would even love you to explore and do such kind of things. So it might be that you want to do a research. So the reason why we're not pairing you in our own group with anybody is because we feel this is something that you be creative yourself on it. Just like we group all of you right now, just a test. We group you people now. Some of you, when it's that time for this thing, they become MIA. So the same, that's why we wanted, let people that are serious, let them take up the project themselves, think through it and come up, and then we can guide you. It is also for your own good. But if it's also so the only thing is that we can only encourage, motivate you, but we can't actually force you if you say you don't want to do it. So that's just the thing. Um Which license is an account created for you? Go and check the account details. In the account, you can log in with your personal Outlook email. We gave you a username and password for the tenants where we create an account for you. So that's where when you log in, that's when you will see the license. You don't need to buy a license because if you log into your portal.office.com, the first thing you are going to see is this. This is how it's going to appear. If you log into even if you type in today, if I type in portal.office.com and I enter and I've logged in with the username and password we provided you, this is what you are going to see. This is how it's going to come up for you. Yes, please, you can. So I think if you have any question, all of you are unmuted, you can raise your hand and then you can ask your question. So that will be all. Please bear at the back of your mind that this, by the time I take the session on the 14th, which is next week, we expect that before 21st, you have started submitting your assignments and then your projects. We want you to be creative. So we're not going to make up anything for you, but we want you to be creative. Think about how you can use agents to solve problems. People are solving problem. If you are working in a financial institution, if you're a customer service person, look at an agent that can answer simple question, or maybe cost for this. You can have that in a template. You have a SharePoint list. That's why you have a SharePoint. You can create a SharePoint list and say the price of burger. This is the cost. Price of tea. This is and then somebody can come create an agent that can interface with somebody that says, what do you want? I want burger, I want this thing, and then he goes and then present the price for it and then wrap. I want you people to be creative. I don't want to give you so much ideas, please. I want you guys to be creative because that's the only way you can grow. So if you have any question, I'm willing to answer. So if you see, if you if you understand what we taught last time. Mm. And I'm going to just, if you create an agent, which is good, and I like the fact that you said you even started doing something. So the first thing you're starting with an agent is that you're describing what you want the agent to do. So put as much word. You can say, just like I started here, that says that, okay, you are an agent, you are a weather agent that helps people to know the weather. You can give a broad description of what the agent is. The more information you give to the co-pilot agent, I mean the co-pilot, the more information you know. So okay, this is what the agent just describe. So when you finish describing an agent, right, you can even just if you finish describing and then it gives you a name. This is what my description that provides this explanation about current weather conditions. So it comes, you see that when I type, I did not put this information. He was the one that, from the bit of information I put here, you are a weather agent that helps people to know the weather. That's all I put. So he said, great, now let's decide a name for it. What you give it a name? And I said, I'm cool with the name. Then he asked, is there any instruction? So based on what I gave it, I did not give it more enough information. He came up with this description. You see that he drafted it. Now, with the instruction he gave me, the next thing he asked me is that now let's refine the instruction for your weather agent. Is there any specific thing you would like to add or change about how the agent should respond to user queries? So you might, for example, should it provide detailed explanation or just brief? If they say, if you whatever explanation you give, this is why you come to this configure, because configure this, if you look at what this says, say direct the behavior of the agent, including his tasks and how he completes it. I can say provide detailed explanation about the weather. I can say do not, you can give it as more as maybe limit your answers to just few sentences. I mean, whatever thing you want your agent, what you want it to do and you don't want it to do. Do you get what? That's the instruction. So I can say, oh, as a weather agent, I just want you to be able to report on, probably, maybe I'm just giving an example, report on weather for the Europe. Don't report for weather for Africa, or don't report for weather where they have what they call it, flood and all of that. Give it as much instruction. You gave it some, you said be polite. If there is any other thing you want to put there, put it. So that you said you're a course reviewer. Okay, so when students ask for this is what you should give them. If they maybe when if they don't ask for this, don't give them this and all of that. You get. Now when you now comes to knowledge, because the limitation for both of us right now is because we are using Copilot chat. If you were using something like the full-blown license like this one now, right? So if let's say I create this agent here, if I say I create this agent here also, let me see, let me just show you. You can see that if I say I create this agent and I say to configure, I have a place apart from saying maybe I want to use the web. I can enter URL. I can even browse or go and select even a SharePoint location where I have all my files. So what am I saying? You can even see code interpreters. I have all of that. So what I will tell you to do, sir, is this. You can create a SharePoint site. In your SharePoint site, you have the documents there. You have all of those documents that maybe they can look at. You have all of those things, probably maybe in a SharePoint list that that it can query. Then you can come and put the URL here. Do you understand? So you see, I can select folders, files, or even add website, and I can select multiple of it. This is because I am using a you can see all of the it's showing me. I don't want to, because this is my complaints information, I don't want to do it. So it's showing me already the things I can use it for. I can browse and all of the files I can pick. And then beyond that, I can tell it, okay, go to the web and search, or maybe I don't want it to go to the web. I want it that every information is doing, it should be within my company organization. But what I'm saying to you now is that we don't have the license that gives us this capability of where we can add files. The most is for us to be able to, the most we can do is just for us to add a URL. So what I'm saying you can do is that when you are building yours, you can see the difference here. This is the interface you will have. Whatever instruction you're giving, all the instruction you want your agent to have as regard what you want it to do, what you don't want it to do. Do you get? Just ensure that you had it here. And then if you have any place, maybe like a URL of a SharePoint site that you have already kept some of the files and all of that, bring it here. Hopefully you will recognize it. Hopefully I use the word hopefully. If it doesn't recognize it, because this is saying that you use web search, and that web search is actually pointing to this thing. But I was thinking if I can deceive it with a SharePoint site, which is a very slim chance that it will accept it. It's only a site online that it will accept, because if I want to query a SharePoint site, I have to use the other one that has the full flow license. So that's what you should do. But we just want you to have an idea of how you can create. So you may want to create something that may not use a SharePoint site, right? And then, but maybe a web server. And if you have that web server has those information that you are using for your reviewer purpose, you can bring it here. So that's some of the things you can do. So that's just what we're trying to do, stay, and then the starter. So whatever information, and if you have the full blown, some people have a full blown M365 Copilot. Why not explore and then do it? You can do more with it. So that's just what we wanted to show. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. Okay. So um so next week we'll just do our final, we'll do a class for AI agents, and then we still have another class for you to manage how to manage agents from your M365 within how to drive adoption and all of that if you have an organization. So till then,